Hello, this is Tim Elder, making this video September 22nd, 2021, because a number of people are asking me about resources for learning Korean. And so I thought, well, why don't I do a video based on the supposition that, suppose I were to wake up one morning and I found that I'd forgotten all my Korean, just zero, completely blank in terms of Korean. How would I go about learning it again, having gone through the experience once? So maybe that will help some people. In other words, this is kind of, if it were me, this is the way that I would do it. Well, first thing, of course, is that you do have to know the alphabet. And by the way, some parts of this video are going to be familiar with those who have gone through the OSTP workshops with me, because I've talked about it there. And but please hang on, because there's going to be plenty of new stuff for you as well. So first, of course, you gotta know the characters. You gotta know the characters. And these are the Hangul chart. That's the Hangul characters. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2 is 14 consonants, and then you have 10 vowels. All right, 1, 2, or I'm sorry, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right, 10 vowels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 consonants and 10 vowels. You have 24 letters, and then down here, these are combination vowels. And so this one, for example, let me see now. This one, for example, on the first of the combination vowels is a combination between the first vowel, and which has a straight vertical line like that, and then a little doohickey out there to the right, okay? And then also the last one you see is just a simple straight line. So you put those two together, and you find this combination of vowel. And the second combination vowel is also, as you can see, this one here with the vertical line with 2 doohickeys, and then the last vowel, and so you have that one. And in this one, again, the same pattern, this third vowel plus the last vertical one, and so then that gives you that one, and then da-da-da. So this one then starts a little bit different, or yeah, this one's also, I guess, this is a little bit different, isn't it? Because you have that, okay, you have the 5th vowel, and then instead of going to the last vowel, you're going back to the first vowel. Okay, so this is a combination between this one and that one. And then this is actually a combination of 3 vowels. This 2, 4, 6, the combination vowel, because you have the 5th vowel, and then you have the first vowel, and then you have the last vowel. So these are all combinations. And so you'll pick these up as you go along. But the basic thing, though, is to learn these 24 characters, these 24 letters. And you can't learn English without knowing ABC, right? Learning how to say your ABCs is one of the first things that little children learn when they're beginning to study the language. And same for you. You just have to know these. And as you can see, they're really simple. You know, they're really quite simple. And just here you got goes like this and like that, and like this and like that, and so forth. So and this one is a little bit okay, a little sort of mouse trap or a mouse maze type thing there. That's fine. And then a little mouth there, and then a mouth with 2 doohickeys on top, and something like that, and then just a plain circle like that, and so forth and so on. So that part is pretty straightforward, I think. And you can probably, just learn these in just a few hours. Okay. So then the next thing is to learn how these letters are put together. When you make a word or make a syllable, how do you put the letters together? Well, in English, this is what we do. We take 3 letters, okay, and we line them up left to right on a straight line, okay? And you have a little line under there sometimes with if you have ruled paper. And cat, okay, that's the animal. Some people like cats, some people like dogs. This is a cat, okay, C-A-T. This is how we do it in English. But you know what? We could do it differently if we wanted to. We don't necessarily have to line them up horizontally like this doing. For example, suppose we were to decide, instead of doing it like that, okay, what if we were to write cat like this, okay, with C-A-T? Now, people could still read it. You could still read it. Okay, that says cat. Okay, and then how would you read it? Well, you go from start in the upper left, okay, start in the upper left, and then go from left to right, and then from top to bottom, right? You could still read cat. And suppose you wanted to add another syllable. Okay, let's add another syllable. Catnip. Okay, that's a word. Catnip is a word, and this is how you would do it. So you have one syllable like that with a C-A-T, and then a second syllable, again, left to right, top to bottom, nip, cat, nip. And that would be the way, well, that would be one way of writing English. Well, this is in fact the way that Korean is written. So that in Korean, letters are sort of clumped together. You could say clumped together in syllables. And they're not spread out on a straight line like we do in English. So that's one thing that we need to get accustomed to. All right. So then, so now you've learned the characters, and you've learned basically know how to put them together. Okay. So the next thing I think is just to dive in, yeah. And because you know, we all have a purpose in learning a language. Some people learn a language because they want to go to that country, and well, frankly, one of the first things that I learned when I went to Korea was where's the toilet? Because when you go into a restaurant and want to use the toilet, that's a pretty important sentence expression to be able to say. That was one of the first things that I literally learned to say in Korea. Or something like, how much is this? Take me to the station, take me to a hotel. For a tourist, these kinds of expressions are important. But your purpose is different. You're not planning to go to Korea anytime soon. What are you planning to do? Why is it that you want to learn Korean? Well, I think the people watching this video, you want to learn Korean so that you can read Father's words. All right. The king has, the second king of Cheonryuk, Myung, has said that Father has expressed his love in his love language, which is Korean. And so he has encouraged us to learn that language so that we can communicate with Father. Communicate with Father. Yeah. So we want to learn the words and the expressions that Father uses. And here's one right here. Okay. All right. So if you can read this already, then you probably don't need to be watching this video. Okay. This is for people who don't know how to read this. They look at this and they say, what on earth is that? I have no idea what that is. So let's break this down. Okay. We're going to break it down and we're going to figure this out together. Okay. So here you can tell right away that this is according to my explanation. Okay. Just like this, where you're clumping the letters together by syllable. So this has how many syllables? Okay. This has 3 syllables. It's a word with 3 syllables. And each of the syllables has 3 letters. You got one here, a second one here, and a third one there. Okay, one here, a second one there, and a third one there. One here, second one there, and a third one here. Okay, so this is a word with 3 syllables, and each of the syllables has 3 letters. So all we have to do now is look up those letters on this chart, and we'll be able to figure out what's going on here. Okay, we'll be able to. This even has some indication of how they're pronounced. So this is very, very rough, the one on here, okay? Probably other Hangul apps or something like that will give you a better idea of how to pronounce each of these letters. But anyway, let's go with what we have right now. Okay, so let's figure this out. Okay, now, first syllable, okay? And we're going left to right, top to bottom. I'm afraid I have a truck going by, and that's going to happen from time to time. People forgive. I live next to a highway. Okay, so left to right, top to bottom. So this is the first letter. So let's see what this is, okay? Let's see what this is. And we look through here, and this is it right here, isn't it? This is it right here, okay? And it says here that this is like a CH. Well, you notice that this consonant and this consonant are very similar. And in kind of a more specialized term, this is referred to as an unaspirated consonant, and this one is called an aspirated consonant. Aspirated means that you're putting out more breath, more air when you pronounce it. So this one, I'm not a native Korean, so don't take my pronunciation too seriously. But this is more like kind of more like a J, and this is more like a CH. Okay, this is more like ch, and this is more like ch, the ch. So you can hear the air coming out, right? Ch. Okay, so that's good. All right. The second one here is here, and then let's look at where that is. And here we go, right there. The third vowel there, okay? And this is kind of oh. This is pronounced oh. It says here E-O. When I was learning Korean, I taught myself that if someone were to punch me in the stomach, this is what I would say, oh, oh. And that's how I learned kind of how to pronounce this particular vowel, right? And so you can maybe think of that or some other way, but that worked for me. And learning a language, you have to kind of learn how to control your mind. You know, a lot of you know more than one language. Many of you know Spanish, many of you know German or French or whatever. So you know how to learn a language. Sometimes you have to sort of fool yourself, I guess, or try to tell yourself some things in order to get the right sound coming out of your mouth. So this is kind of oh, okay, oh. So then we have a ch and we have an oh, all right? Ch and oh, all right. So we're getting somewhere. So let's look at then the third letter, which is this thing here where it goes down and then across. You see something like that? Yeah, here we go. The second consonant, which it says here is close to an N, the English letter N. And that's pretty close, yes. There's a slight difference, but not enough to really make a difference right there. All right, so we have a ch, and we have an ah, and we have an n. Okay, ch, ah, n, chun, right? Chun. Aspirating that first one. Okay, if you don't aspirate, then it comes out as chun, and that's a completely different word. But aspirate it, chun. Let the air come out, chun, like that. Like that, all right? So then we got it. We got our first syllable in Korean. Wow, praise God. All right, let's go to the second one, okay? Now, the second one has this round consonant, right? The second one has this round consonant. And it says here that the round consonant is pronounced as NG, but, okay? That's not necessarily true. The thing about Korean is, and this is one absolute hard, fast, totally 100%, no exception rule. Every Korean consonant, remember this now, this is very important. Every Korean consonant, without exception, begins, I'm sorry, no, let me backtrack that, made a mistake. Every Korean syllable, every syllable in Korean, every single syllable, without exception, 100%, begins with a consonant. Did you get that? Every syllable begins with a consonant. But sometimes, though, when you pronounce it, though, it begins with a vowel sound. So what do? What is their solution for that? Well, this consonant, in that case, acts as a silent consonant. So when it is written, every written syllable, okay, must begin with a consonant. No exception. Absolutely never an exception to that. But when the syllable begins with a vowel sound, then you use this as the silent consonant. And we have silent consonants in English. Psychology. Does psychology begin with an S? No, it doesn't. It begins with a P, doesn't it? And it's not pronounced psychology, it's pronounced psychology. Okay, so this is the silent consonant when it appears at the beginning of a syllable. Now, when it appears at the end of a syllable, it's pronounced like the English NG, like that. So, that's important to remember. Okay, and again, check with the native speakers, please, on pronunciation. My pronunciation is not native. All right. So anyway, this syllable, this round syllable, can either appear at the beginning of a I'm sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up here. This round consonant can appear at the beginning of a syllable or at the end of a syllable. At the beginning of a syllable, it is silent. At the end of a syllable, it is pronounced like NG. And so what about here? Here, we see it at the beginning of a syllable. So it's silent. We don't have to worry about it, okay? We don't have to worry about it. So let's go right away to the second letter there, to the second letter. And what is the second letter? Well, it's this vowel here, isn't it? It's this vowel, this straight up and down bar here, okay? And then it says here underneath it, this is pronounced like an I. Well, I, yes, but the Italian I, in other words, like E, you know, like in the Italian words, the I is pronounced E, right? So it's E. So this syllable begins with the E sound. It has a silent consonant, and then it begins with a vowel that is the E sound. Okay, and then we got the third one here. We got the third letter of in the syllable. So let's look at where we can find that. Here it is. It's that little mouse maze type consonant, right? Let's look at that. It's this consonant here, and it's sort of squiggly little thing there. And it says here, this is pronounced like an R. Well, let's say between an R and an L. So this would be pronounced il, more like an L, I would say in this case, il. So we have chan and we have il. Chan, we have il. Maybe you can already guess what this third one is, but let's go through it anyway, okay? So the first letter, okay, and now in this case, the letters are not left to right. There is no left to right, is there? It's just top to bottom. And that's because the second one goes like this, and the way it fits together is that the second one has that horizontal bar and then a little doohickey on the bottom, okay? So the first letter is this one here that goes across and then down, okay? This one was down and across. This one is across and then down, okay? And you find that this is actually the first consonant there. And it says here that this is pronounced like a G. Well, so a little bit more like a G or K, you know, G or K, G, sort of kind of in the middle there. Not really a K, but also not really a G either. But that's all right, that's all right. People won't criticize you too much if you pronounce it like a G. That's fine. And so this is a K, all right? And then we have the second letter, which is the bar across, and then a little doohickey at the bottom, okay? And so then we have here, there we go, it's right there, that vowel there, and that's pronounced as oo, okay? And so then this is a k, oo. And the third letter is the same as the first. So it's k, oo, k, right? So we have ch, n, or chun, okay? Then we have the silent consonant, il, so il, and then k, u, k. So chan, il, ku. Chanyaguk. Wow, that's what that says. It says Chanyaguk. Isn't that something? All right. Now, so if you want to, you know, if you want to really dive into this thing, just go right to the Korean Cheonseongeum. This is the first sentence. Wait a second, I'm really sharing. Let me reshare it just in case that's not coming out. And so this is the first sentence of the Cheonseongeum. Okay, that's the first sentence. Or first paragraph, first quotation, I guess you could say. First quotation is from October 13th, 1970, and it's from volume 35, page 156, in the Sermons of Our True Father. Okay, so we have here a whole bunch of syllables now, don't we? So what do? Well, begin at the beginning, and you take them one by one. Okay. And right now, it may look like something that you'll never be able to figure out. But you know what? In about 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to know what this says, or you're going to be able to read what it says anyway. Knowing is another step, but at least be able to read it, okay? At least be able to read it. So let's take it from the beginning, all right? We got one here. Now this one looks like it only has two letters. Okay, this is a syllable with just two letters. And we got a little round thing there. Yeah, but the round thing has a little hat on it. Okay. So let's look at that chart that we had. And here we go. Here's that round thing with the hat on it. And it's pronounced like an H. Okay. All right, good. So that's the first one. So that's we've begun. All right, we've begun. So let's keep going. And then we have the second letter, which is the vertical bar, and then it'll doohickey out to the right. Okay, so let's see if we saw anything like that on this chart. Yeah, here we go. It's the first vowel, right? And it's pronounced like a. So ah. So all right. So h ah, or ha. Kind of like, you know, if it were HA in English, that's probably how you would pronounce it, right? Ha. Okay. Well, good. So then we've got the first one. All right, good. So let's keep going. And then here, I see I'm not quite sharing everything, am I? Because when I go back and forth, it doesn't, does it share with this one? Back and forth like that? Okay. So anyway, I'm looking at that chart that we had a while ago. You can go back and look at that if you want. Right, this one now is the second consonant, right? So this has the down and then over, down and then over. And if we go back to that chart, we see that the consonant there, the one that's kind of like an N in English, that has the down and over. So that's a and so there and there. And then the vowel is the same as the first one, okay? So this is ha, and this will be like the N, so this is na, ha, na, okay? And then the third syllable, it's got that same, you know, N-like consonant, okay? And this one we already know is just a straight one down. We had it a while ago. So this is so, and then, so this is, we're going, remember, we're going from left to right, up, top to bottom, okay? So this would be ni, got ahead of myself there for a minute, okay? Ni, right? This is a new one for us, and this is the rectangle, okay? A rectangle. How do you pronounce a rectangle? Okay, let's see. Well, here we go. Yeah, it's like an M. M as in mother. Okay, so there we got this. So this is nim, right? M as in mother there. Nim. So hananim. Hananim. Well, you know what that means, right? It means God. So that's how you write God in Korean. All right. So hananim. Okay. So let's go to the next word. We got the silent consonant here at the top. Okay, we got the silent consonant. So let's ignore that. And then the second letter is this horizontal bar. Okay, if you go back to that chart, you see that there is a horizontal vowel, and this is pronounced And going back to, you know, being punched in the stomach, you may say oh, but you may also say You may also say when you're punched in the stomach. So I also learned how to pronounce this one by imagining myself being punched in the stomach. Okay, okay, and then this is the N like a consonant. Okay, so ha na nim un, ha na nim un. Okay, so there you go. That's the first. And then every time you have a break like that, that means that that's the end of a word, and plus sometimes a grammatically necessary particle or something like that is put on at the end of a word, and that's the case here. So hananim is the word for God, and then because of some grammatical stuff that you don't need to know yet, there's an un there after hananim. So hananimun, hananim un, hananim un. So you can pronounce it like that. A more advanced Korean speaker would sort of slide one into the other and say hananimun, hananimun. But if you want to say hananim un, that's fine. That's fine. For a beginner, that's perfectly fine. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, see, we're making progress here. And then this is the first quotation in the Cheonseongeong, okay? So here we have the silent consonant again, silent consonant. Okay, so let's ignore that. And then we have a vowel here with a vertical bar and then a doohickey out to the left. Okay, so we go to that little chart there, and that's the O sound, right? O. Remember being punched in the stomach the first time? So O, okay. And then here we have an interesting thing. We have two consonants together, the same consonant, double consonant, double consonant. Now, when pronouncing a double consonant like this, you sort of not aspirating it, but sort of exploding it. So first of all, let's look at how this consonant is pronounced by itself. It says here that it's like a D, all right? Kind of like a D, a little bit like a D, all right? But then it's double, so you're gonna explode it. So, and then the vowel is the same vowel here, so it's ta. So if it were just one of these consonants, you would pronounce it ta, right? But because it's a double, you gotta explode it. So it's da, da, da. So what I do is I hold my tongue up on the roof of my mouth and then just let it sort of explode out, sort of burst out, sort of da, like that, da. Okay, so then da, okay. Then here we have that same round thing with the hat on top, right? So just like we had it with the first letter of Hananim, so same. And then the vowel is also the same. So ha, but then we have the little N-like consonant there at the bottom. So han, right? Han. So otohan, otohan, otohan. Okay, so these are Father's words that you're actually reading. Yeah, you're pronouncing the words that Father actually spoke. Isn't that exciting? Okay, here. And then we have, all right, so that's Hananimun, okay, Hananimun, otohan, otohan, okay? So let that D really burst out, all right? To, otohan, okay? And then here, let's go to this one. You getting tired yet? Keep on going. Because this is only the first paragraph in the Cheonsongyong out of 2,000 how many hundreds of pages? So, but you'll get there. But you have to keep going. You only fail if you stop. Okay. And so then we have that same sort of H-like consonant there at the beginning of this. And here we have, here it's a O, except it has the duheki is doubled, right? So it kind of like adding a Y. So sha, instead of ha, it's sha. Kind of like adding a Y there to the consonant, right? So sha. And now you see here's an example where that round consonant appears at the end of a syllable. So here it's not silent. It actually has an NG sound. So it's hu, ya, hu, ya, hu, ya, so it's NG. So hyung, hu, ya, hyung, okay? And then let's go to the next syllable here. And then there, the first letter is that same aspirated sound that we had a while ago, like the first letter in Cheonryuk, right? Aspirated, right? Let the air out, okay? And then we have our first combination vowel, okay? We have our first combination vowel, all right? So that's exciting, isn't it? Okay, so let's look at the combination vowel here. And here it says here that's pronounced like a short E, like an E or a short E. In other words, okay? Okay? So this is hyungche, all right? Then we have here the consonant that's kind of like a D, all right? And then we have the vowel here, the second letter is a vowel, and as the horizontal crossbar, and then a doohickey that goes up, okay? And if you go back and look at that chart, it's pronounced, says here like an O, okay? All right, so that's good. So with the D, you'll say to, right? To. So hyung, che, to. Hyung, che, to. Hyung, che, to. All right, so there you go. That's number 3 that you just did. You got the first one, 하나님은, 어떠한, making that burst, right? 어떠한 형태도. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Now here, the pronunciation is going to get a little bit more complicated because now, anyway, we'll get through it here. First of all, this is 3 letters. Okay, so let's go left to right, top to bottom, take them one at a time. All right, so here you have that first consonant. Okay, first consonant, and that's pronounced kind of like a G or a K, right? When you go back to that chart, and then the vertical line with the doohickey out to the right, that's like an A, right? A short A. So this is ga, ga, ga. But better in this, better when it's at the beginning of the sentence of the beginning of a word to pronounce it closer to a K. So it's ka, 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 ka. Not too much now, don't aspirate it. Ka, ka, between G and a K, but closer to a K right now, okay? Now, this one is the unaspirated version of this, right? So it's a J, kind of like a J. But when it appears at the end of a syllable like this, it acts kind of like a T. It acts like at the T at the end of an English word, like cat, cat, right? But you don't really enunciate it though. Cat, cat. You just sort of hold it, right? You don't, if it were a T, you would enunciate it, cat, 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 like that. But if you were to say cat, 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 without enunciating it, that would be the way that you would handle this consonant there, cat, cat, okay? And here we have that same, now this consonant and this consonant are the same. They look a little bit different because here we've got 3 letters and you're trying to fit it in nicely in the context of 3 letters. And so they sort of bend it out like this, okay? Whereas this one is more, kind of more like a 90 degrees. But it's the same letter. It's the same letter, just written a little bit in a different angle because you got to save room for the 3rd letter here at the bottom. So this consonant and this consonant are actually the same consonant. Don't get confused. It's not 2 different consonants. It's the same. And then here, this is the vowel with the horizontal line and then the vertical doohickey there. So this would be between, again, between a G and a K, then O, right? This one with the horizontal line and the vertical is pronounced like an O. So ko, ko. So kat, ko, kat, ko, kat, ko, kat, ko, kat, ko. All right. So there we go. There we got the first line. Yeah, we're making progress there. All right. So let's look at this one. Now this is the first time that we're seeing a syllable with 4 letters. Okay. And we have a double consonant here at the bottom. Okay. And if you go back to that chart, you'll see that this particular consonant is actually pronounced kind of like an S, kind of like an S. So what do you do with a double S? Well, this again is kind of like that unenunciated T at the end of a word. So we can, you understand this, right? This is the silent consonant going here from left to right, top to bottom, silent consonant. And then here, this is E. Remember the Italian I, E, okay? And then we have that double S consonant at the bottom. So this will be, again, the unenunciated T, so eat, not eat, but eat. So just hold it there and don't let the breath out, eat, okay? And now we have that unenunciated sort of a J similar sound, ch, okay? And then this vowel we know, this is the Italian I vowel, so G, oh, it's G. Except that when it is, or, you could say eat G, and that would be all right for a super beginner, I suppose. But when you're enunciating it like this, then this gets more enunciated, this gets more aspirated. So eat G. When you have this kind of a unenunciated T sound at the end of one syllable, and then an unaspirated consonant at the beginning of the next syllable, the unaspirated consonant becomes kind of aspirated. So it's eat G instead of eat G. And so, but if you wanted to say eat G, some unfeeling people may laugh at you, but embarrassment is part of learning a language. So don't worry too much about that. Okay. And then here we got another syllable with four letters. Okay. So let's take them one at a time, left to right, top to bottom. Okay. The first one then is this one, and it's the round consonant. Okay. It's at the beginning of the syllable. So what does that mean? It means it's silent. Okay. So we don't have to worry about it. And then we have this vowel, okay, the vertical line with the doohickey out and right. And we know now that that is pronounced like the short A. So ah. Okay, so this syllable begins with the ah sound. And then we have the little thing here that goes down and over to the right. We know that that's now similar to the N, right? N in English. So on. And then we have that H-like thing, right? The round thing with the hat on top. And the first letter of Hananim is like that. And we see it again here. But then we don't really have to worry about this. Is almost silent, especially for a beginner. I wouldn't worry about trying to learn how to, or trying to figure out how to pronounce that one. So just consider that this is an. Effectively, no, the first letter is silent and the fourth letter is almost silent. So it's kind of like having just two letters, just an, okay? And here now we have that consonant that's kind of like an S. We had here, it was double, but here it's singular, right? So, okay. Then we have here the horizontal consonant. As I said, we just punched in the stomach and you say, oh, not oh, but okay, not oh. You may say that once, but then the second time you get punched in, you say, oh. So, okay, and now we have this, and this is a new one, okay. And this one, if you go to that chart, it says that it's pronounced kind of like a B, sup. So it's sup, okay, sup. I got the wrong file, okay, sup. So sup. Now, and I know fluent speakers are going to be jumping up and down right now, but just give me a minute now, I'll get there, don't worry. So then the here, this is the N-like consonant, and then the vowel that is kind of like an Italian I, so E, so ni, right? And then here's the consonant that's like a D, and then a vertical with a thing out to the right, so that's a ta, okay? Now, so if you were to pronounce it just the way it is, it would be an, sup, ni, ta, an, sup, ni, ta. Now, as you progress in Korean, you will learn that in this kind of a situation, the B-like consonant is going to change to more like an M-like consonant. So it's going to be not ansupnida, but ansumnida. Ansumnida. And if you can start to saying it that way now, that'd be great. And the reason is that this consonant is followed by another consonant. This consonant sound followed by another consonant sound. And so when one consonant sort of bleeds into another, then the first consonant can change. And you'll see other examples of that as you go along. But in this case, ansumnida instead of ansupnida. Ansumnida is the more correct pronunciation. Again, my pronunciation is not native, and so please check with a native person for better pronunciation. But I'm just showing you how I would go about learning Korean if it were me. All right. So that brings us to the end of the first Korean sentence. Okay, let's review. So 하나님은, okay, 하나님은 어떠한, okay, 어떠한. Remember, this is a sort of an explosive consonant there because it's a double consonant. 어떠한 형체도. This is aspirated. Let that air out. 형체도 같고. Okay, so don't put any kind of a vowel sound after this one here. Just hold it and then go right into the next consonant. So 같고. And here again, 있지. So this is more like a J if it were by itself, but because it's preceded by a double S consonant, it becomes more aspirated. 있지. And then this one, ansumnida. 씁니다. And you know what? This combination of 씁니다 occurs in Korean so often that I think it would be good to start pronouncing it correctly now. Just go ahead and just pretend that this is actually that, just like this one here, the consonant, the rectangular consonant, which is kind of like the M of a mother. So just go ahead and start pronouncing it that way now. ansumnida, because that combination is going to be occurring quite frequently. In fact, we see it here again, right? The B at the end, the B-like consonant there, followed by the N. And the same thing is going to happen again. Now this B-like consonant is going to sort of bleed into the next one. It's going to become more like an M, as in mother. Okay, so 않습니다. 하나님은 어떠한 형체도 갖고 있지 않습니다. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, you probably understand 하나님은, but you probably don't understand anything else in that sentence. So in my mind, all right, if I were to learn a language now, I would want to go out and buy myself a good dictionary. You might say, oh, no, I'm a millennial generation, or I'm a whatever it is generation. I don't do that kind of stuff. I do everything online. Okay, so if you're going to use an online Korean English dictionary, then you have to be able to type in Korean. Like here, I've typed this out in Korean because I know how to type Korean. But if you know how to type Korean, then you should not be watching this video, right? You are way, way, way beyond this video. So by the time you learn how to type Korean, you are going to be an extremely fluent speaker. And so typing Korean into a Microsoft IME, whatever it is, it's not really something that's realistic for you if you are a true beginner, in my mind. So what you want to do is to get a old-fashioned, straight from the tree Korean paper dictionary, Korean English dictionary. So I've looked at a few of these, and I've found a few of these that I think would probably serve a beginner well. Here, let me share my. Let's see here. No, what did I do with that? Let's see here. What did I do? Okay, yeah, all right, so here we go. Now I wanted to, let's see here. Okay, all right. All right, so I went to eBay actually, as opposed to Amazon. I think Jeff Bezos has enough money as it is, and he's just using it to shoot rockets up into space. So I looked at a few dictionaries, and these are ones that I sort of picked out. Let me go back to my watch list here. The one I'm showing you now is the one I want to get to last. Okay. Now this one, come on now. There we go. This one is being sold by someone in Australia, and so they're asking for $50 Australian. And the reason I picked it out is because Shisa Elite is a well-known brand name for language dictionaries in Korea, and they've been around a long time, and I know their work, and it's quite good. And this is a Korean English language dictionary paperback. Problem with this one is that it's going to cost you a lot to have it shipped to the United States. I think they were saying anyway, they're asking for a lot of money just for the shipping to the United States. So if I were living in Australia, this I think would be one that I might want to pick up. I would say that in U.S. currency, they say $36.12, and I think that's a fair price for a dictionary of this caliber. Anything that comes from Shisa, that's the company, and the Elite is their brand name, and I'm also familiar with that brand name, and it's I trust it. This is, I think, this is used, but if you look at the pages, and I want to especially look at this photograph here, kind of clean, isn't it? What does that mean? Well, it means the guy who owned it didn't use it very often. That's what it means. A dictionary with a clean section here is not a good sign. Okay, it means probably that the person who used this to study did not succeed, because if you are successful in learning a language, if you are successful in actually learning Korean, this area is going to turn black. Okay, it's going to turn black. because that's how often you have to use it. And unless you wash your hands every time before you touch the dictionary, it's going to be black by the time you learn the language. So anyway, that's one that I would recommend. But again, it's in Australia and they're charging a lot of money to have it shipped out to you. And then another one that I had on my watch list here, the same from Shisa. And this one is actually being sold from Britain, and this is 26 pounds. And again, 35.47 in US currency, so about the same. But again, they're charging a lot for the shipping. So yeah, they're charging $75 for the shipping, in addition to the $35 for the book. And so it's going to cost $110 if you're having it shipped to the US. So, but if I were in the UK or somewhere thereabouts in Europe, I suppose this would certainly be something I would consider to be a very good investment in terms of a dictionary. Okay. Now, for those of you in the United States, come on now. Yeah, okay, here we go. I have a couple here. Here's one for $10, okay? And these I'm not familiar with, but I'm just going on the basis of what they say in their blurb here. And I like this one kind of because it says down here that it has the 12,000 most commonly used words and expressions in the Korean language, the latest computer, mobile, internet, and social media terms, English, Korean, and Korean English sections. Of course, Father didn't use computer, mobile, or internet, social media terms, so you probably don't need that. Hangul and Romanized Korean. And romanization is when you take a language like Korean or Japanese and you write the syllables as they sound in English. Like, for example, if you were to write someone's name, like say, if you were to write Hyungjin's name, write it Hyung. Obviously, that's not how it's spelled in Korean. That's how you Romanize it in English. Okay? So, and that can be a crutch, and I'll be very careful about that. I prefer just to go cold turkey and just get used to the Korean alphabet. Don't use the training wheels of romanization. That would be my recommendation. Okay, and here, designed for English speakers, information on Korean grammar, a guide to pronouncing Korean correctly. So it sounds okay. I'm a little bit leery by the fact that they're advertising for people who are traveling to Korea, and you are not traveling, so that doesn't really apply to you. Right, another similar one. Again, I'm not familiar with the brand or anything like that, so I cannot recommend it the way that I recommend a dictionary from Shisa. And if you can get a reasonably priced Shisa dictionary, elite dictionary in America, then that would be great. But unfortunately, the ones that I could find were only in Australia and UK and charging a lot of money for the shipping. Okay, this is Korean Standard Dictionary, and this says not 12,000, but they have 20,000. We have 20,000. Here it says 20, but no, that's not right. Up here they say 20,000, which I think is probably the correct number here. Where do they say that? Oh yeah, here we go on the cover. Yeah, comprehensive 20,000 entries, and it says extensive examples show correct usage, perfect for Korean and English speakers. All right, so this is both a Korean English and English Korean a dictionary, which I think is probably it looks to be pretty good anyway. It looks to be pretty good. Okay, so they're shipping from Jessup, Maryland, in the United States. So this might be a good dictionary to get. But if you want to just be able to read Korean and not know what it means, then you don't need a dictionary. All right, but if you want to be able to read Korean and then understand something about what it means, then you have to be able to look up the words and figure out what they mean. And let me go back to that Shisa-Yongo, I'm sorry, Shisa, was it Shisa-Yongo? Yeah, Shisa, the Shisa dictionary, the elite dictionary, because that will show you how a Korean dictionary can be used. Here, let's see, here on this side, and that photograph, okay, we're going to go to that photograph. You see that the vowels, I'm sorry, the vowels of Korean are not listed at all. Only the consonants are listed. Here on the English, you have the A to KY, XYZ, so you have A to Z, right? Including the vowels and the consonants. But in the Korean pages, you don't have any of the vowels. Why is that? Why is that? Can you guess? It's because every Korean word, without exception, begins with a consonant. There are no Korean words that are spelled with a vowel at the beginning of the word. So you don't need vowels to be listed here on the in the sections of the dictionary. Okay, so that's why here you have only the consonants, and none of the vowels. So yeah, just get yourself a dictionary and start looking words up. Start looking them up. Yeah, that's how to do it. It's tough sledding. Yeah, it is tough sledding, but you know what? That's how it's done. That is how it is done. You know, the second king, I think, at one point referred to me in his remarks about how I learned Korean from the love letters that my wife wrote me, which is true. That's absolutely true. And because when we first met, and then what, a month, I guess, a couple months, maybe 3 months after we met, True Father sent all the Korean fiancés out to Pioneer. And so my wife was sent to a mission on an island off the southern coast of Korea. And so we agreed before she went there that she would write me in her language and I would write her in my language. So I wrote her in English, she wrote me in Korean. So I get this letter, all right? And by this time I've learned the Hangul alphabet. Okay, I learned that in seminary. I learned the Hangul alphabet. So I'm good on that, I figured. But then I opened the letter and I don't recognize a thing, you know, because as it turns out, handwritten Korean is different from the typeface Korean that you see in Korean language textbooks. I didn't know that. Couldn't figure anything, you know. For example, I showed you that example of the double S, right? The double S consonant. Well, in handwritten Korean, it's often abbreviated. It's kind of like you have 2 lines there and then 1 line, a third line coming across both of those first 2 lines. And that's supposed to be the double S. That's not what I learned in the typeface Korean language. So it took me a while to figure out her handwriting. But you know, there was an incident where the first letter I got, I just couldn't figure anything out. So I took it to the office. Big mistake, big mistake. And I asked someone to help me translate it. And this person was all excited. It was a woman. It was an older woman. And she got all excited. Oh, look, this is a love letter. Isn't this cute? Oh, look at this. How do you want to? And she starts passing it around the office, for crying out loud. Literally pass. Oh, yes, look. Isn't this cute? Oh, look how they love each other. This kind of thing. Embarrassing, like nothing I've ever experienced before that or since then. I mean, I would rather be stark naked in a 100,000 person stadium than to have to go through that again. That was incredibly embarrassing. So after that, I just said, okay, you know, if it kills me, it kills me. But I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to do that again. Somehow, no matter what it takes, I'm going to figure this thing out, you know. And so that's what I did. That's what I did. And it was tough. Yeah, it was tough. I keep saying Korean is easy, but it is easy. I think compared to other languages, hey, you know, the alphabet is incredibly easy, right? Alphabet is incredibly easy. And when you get to the grammar, then there's going to be some complications there. But if you're just going to read it, it's not a difficult language to read. Okay. I would say that if you were to forget, if either of us were to forget our English one day and have to learn English all over again, that would be more difficult, far more difficult than learning Korean, I would say, because you have so many exceptions and all sorts of stuff in English that makes absolutely no sense at all. But Korean is a fairly logical language because back in the, what was it, 14th century, I suppose. I'm not exactly sure on the date, but a king in Korea said, you know what, right now, until now, we're using Chinese characters to communicate in this country. We have a language that's different from the Chinese language, and yet we're using Chinese characters superimposed on our language. And what this means is that only the people who have the time and the money to learn to write can actually be literate. And so the peasants the farmers and peasants are illiterate, and there's no way really realistically for them to be able to learn, to be able to read and write. So let's have an alphabet of our own, and let's make it so that the sounds of the alphabet correspond to the shape of the mouth when people speak. And so he appointed a commission, and they came up with this alphabet. They designed this alphabet specifically so that everybody could learn to write, read and write and speak Korean. And although that king didn't realize it, perhaps, but everybody includes you, everybody. And the fact that he did this, I believe, wholeheartedly was a part of the preparation for God's truth to be expressed in the Korean language. You know, I ask people, you know, what would have been like if God's truth had been expressed in the Thai language, or the, you know, or in Chinese, for example. You know, we'd have to learn thousands, maybe tens of thousands of Chinese characters in order to be able to read Father's words. But no, it's written in a very simple, very logical alphabet. So I encourage you to take up the task and work through it. You know, do a little bit every day, and you're going to get the hang of it before you know it. Before you know it. Yes. All right. So that's the end of this video, and I hope that it's been useful for you.